All right. Electrical engineering technician, interview prep. You're getting ready for a pretty awesome career, you know?
Oh, it's a booming industry for sure.
Yeah, and it seems like everyone needs electrical engineering technicians,
hmm
renewable energy, smart grids, electric vehicles.
And you have some great resources to help you nail this interview.
Okay, like what?
Well, you've got a detailed career guide and a whole bunch of potential interview questions, all from RoleCatcher.
So let's make sure you walk into that interview feeling super confident.
Absolutely. Preparation is key.
I'm seeing that electrical engineering technicians are kind of like the bridge between ideas and real working systems.
That's a great way to put it. Like you're the ones who make the magic happen.
From the career guide, it seems like you'll be working with engineers getting hands-on with technical stuff.
Exactly. Bringing those electrical projects to life.
So from the initial design all the way to testing, even manufacturing.
It's a very involved role.
Okay, so that sounds hands-on and pretty interesting.
Yep.
But you know interviewers are going to want to hear more than just, I think it's interesting.
Right. They want to know about your skills, your experience.
Speaking of experience,
Mhm.
let's dive into some of those interview questions.
Sounds good to me.
This one jumps out. Describe your experience with electrical systems troubleshooting.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic.
Every electrical engineering technician job I see asks this one.
And it might seem broad, but what they really want to know is, how do you solve problems?
When things get complicated.
Exactly. Can you think clearly under pressure,
Yeah.
and approach those electrical problems systematically?
So it's not about like listing every single troubleshooting thing you've ever done.
No, not at all. It's about showing your process. Can you explain it to, say, someone who isn't an engineer?
So like how do you even know what the problem is in the first place?
Right. What tools do you use? What techniques? And really important, how do you stay safe every step of the way?
And I bet they'll ask follow-up questions like, tell me about a super tough electrical problem you had to fix.
Definitely. Or maybe a time when you made a mistake.
Yeah.
And, what did you learn from it?
Yeah. And here's where I think RoleCatcher's AI is super helpful because it can tailor your answer to the exact job you're going for.
That's a really great point. You don't want to just give a generic answer.
Okay, so let's say the job description mentions working with like industrial control systems a lot.
RoleCatcher can help you really highlight that specific experience, right?
Exactly. The more you can connect your experience to the specific stuff in the job description.
The better.
Okay, so how about this one? How do you ensure compliance with electrical safety regulations?
Another good one.
It seems pretty basic,
Hmm.
but I
Yeah.
feel like there's a good way and a bad way to answer that.
You're right. You can't just say, I follow the rules. You have to show them you understand why safety is so important.
And that you're proactive, right?
Right. Maybe mention some specific regulations, like the National Electrical Code, for example.
And real-world examples of how you've incorporated those regulations.
Exactly.
So I might say something like, well, in my last job, we worked with high-voltage equipment, and we had to follow strict procedures for something called
Lockout about, yeah.
to prevent anyone from getting hurt.
Yeah.
So I'm showing them I can actually put those safety regulations into practice.
That's a perfect example. And remember, RoleCatcher can help you here too.
Okay, in what way?
It can identify any specific safety protocols that are important to that company or that industry.
Interesting. So you can tailor your answer even more.
Exactly.
Okay, so on to the next one. This one is, how do you stay up to date with the latest electrical engineering trends and technologies?
Oh, yeah, that's a great one.
Almost like they're trying to see how passionate you are about the field.
Absolutely. It's your chance to showcase that enthusiasm that you love to learn, that you're always growing.
So I should talk about the resources I use, like trade magazines or websites or...
Yes. Online forums, professional organizations,
Hmm.
anything like that.
I also think it's a good idea to connect those trends back to, like, my own interests or my career goals.
Definitely.
So if I'm fascinated by smart grids, I can mention how I follow those developments.
And how that might fit into your future career path.
Exactly. I'm not just looking for any job. I'm looking to build a career in this field.
That's what you want them to see.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher's AI can find relevant keywords from the job description, and you can kind of weave those into your answer.
It's like having a personal assistant for interview prep.
Okay, this next one needs some tailoring for sure. Describe your experience with a skill specific to the targeted job role.
This is where RoleCatcher really shines. It can look at that job description,
And suggest specific skills they might be looking for.
like PLC programming or electrical drafting software,
Or even like experience with renewable energy systems.
all of that.
Let's say the job description really emphasizes PLC programming.
Okay, so you'd want to be ready to talk about what different PLC platforms have you worked with?
Right.
How well do you know programming languages like ladder logic and any projects where you've used PLC control systems?
And even if I haven't used a specific type of software or worked on a particular type of project, RoleCatcher has sample answers.
That's the beauty of it. It helps you prepare for all aspects of the interview.
All right, 4 questions down.
We're making progress.
Before we go to the next set, I want to look back at the career guide for a sec. It actually has some interesting stuff about career stages for electrical engineering technicians.
From entry level all the way to senior technician roles,
And as you move up,
you get more responsibility, more opportunities for leadership, and you might even get to specialize in a particular area.
it's nice to see that there's a real path for growth in this field. Like it's not just a job, it's a career with real potential.
I agree. And speaking of career advancement, the guide also talks about certifications, like the CET.
CET.
Yeah, the Certified Electrical Technician credential, or the CEA, Certified Electronics Technician.
Those certifications.
Yeah, right.
I bet they're like gold stars on your resume, right?
They show employers that you've met industry standards and that you're serious about your career.
And that can lead to better opportunities.
And maybe even higher salaries.
Okay, let's get back to those interview questions. I'm curious about this one. Describe your experience with electrical drafting software.
Ah, yes, that's a common one too.
I feel like that's pretty essential for any electrical engineering technician these days.
It is. They want to know, do you know how to create accurate electrical drawings? Those schematics.
So do I understand industry standards and the symbols they use?
All of that.
So I should mention the specific software I've used.
Right, like AutoCAD electrical or SolidWorks electrical.
And my experience with creating different types of drawings, like wiring diagrams, panel layouts.
Exactly.
What if I've worked with 3D modeling software?
Absolutely mention that. Or anything related to building information modeling, BIM. It's becoming very important.
Oh yeah, BIM. I remember reading about that in the career guide.
It's basically like a digital blueprint of the building, with all the electrical systems included.
So everyone working on the project can collaborate and make sure things don't clash.
That's a great explanation.
So if you have any experience with BIM,
Definitely highlight it in your interview.
and of course, we can use RoleCatcher's AI to make sure our answers match the specific software they mention in the job description.
All right, next question. Describe your experience with power distribution systems.
Okay, that one seems pretty broad. I imagine the answer would change a lot depending on the job and the industry.
You're right. Some jobs might be all about low-voltage residential systems, while others might be about really complex installations in factories or industrial settings.
So it's really important to research the company and the specific job, right?
Definitely. So you can give a tailored answer.
So even if I haven't worked with the exact power distribution system they use, I can still talk about the basic principles.
Yes, and your ability to learn new systems quickly,
And RoleCatcher can connect those basic principles to my past experience.
even if it's not an exact match.
All right, on to the next question. Describe your experience with electrical codes and standards. This one seems like it's all about showing them you're committed to safety and compliance.
Absolutely. It's not enough to just say you know the code. You have to show them how you apply it in your everyday work.
So mention specific codes I'm familiar with.
Yes, like the National Electrical Code,
Okay.
the NEC, and give them examples of how you've made sure things are compliant in past projects.
What if I talk about a time when I saw a potential code violation on a job site,
Oh, that's a great idea.
and then I explain what I did to fix it?
That shows you pay attention to detail and that you're committed to doing things by the book. Those real-world examples always make a strong impression.
And we can always use RoleCatcher's AI feedback system to make sure we're using the right terminology.
Exactly. You want to present yourself in the clearest, most compelling way possible.
All right, I'm ready for the next question. What else do you think they might ask?
Let's see, based on your background and the types of jobs you're looking at, they might ask about your experience managing electrical projects.
Oh, interesting. Describe your experience with electrical project management.
Yeah, that's a question that could really make you stand out. They want to know, are you just a technician or are you also a leader?
Can I plan, organize, and execute projects?
Yes, and all while staying on budget and meeting those deadlines.
So I should talk about actual projects I've managed, from the very beginning to the very end.
That's right. Highlight how you were involved in each stage, from planning and design to
Procurement, installation.
testing and commissioning, yes.
What about challenges I've faced and how I overcame them?
Definitely. Like maybe there were some unexpected delays.
Or the scope of the project changed suddenly.
Those stories show you can problem solve and that you can adapt to change.
And I bet RoleCatcher's AI could help me structure my answer.
For sure, it can figure out exactly what project management skills they're looking for.
Okay, before we move on, can we circle back to something from the career guide?
Of course.
The guide keeps emphasizing continuous learning. It's like this recurring theme.
It makes sense, though. Technology is always changing.
And if you want to keep up in this field,
You can't afford to fall behind. The best electrical engineering technicians are always learning.
the guide recommends conferences, online courses, even joining professional organizations.
And networking is key.
Networking, yeah. You never know where your next opportunity will come from.
Or what you might learn from other people.
Okay, let's focus on some questions that are more about specific technologies.
This is where you can really show off those technical skills.
Let's do it.
Okay, here's a question that could really make or break your interview. Describe your experience with PLC programming. If you're applying for any job that has anything to do with industrial automation,
You're going to get this one.
guaranteed.
PLCs, those little boxes that control everything, right?
That's them.
Factory lines, traffic lights.
They're everywhere.
It's amazing how much they control. But interviewers probably want more than just like a basic definition of a PLC.
Right, they want to see that you can actually make those machines come to life using code.
So be ready to talk about what PLC platforms have you used, what programming languages are you good at.
Exactly. And can you design and troubleshoot those really complex automation sequences?
Okay, so I should be throwing out brand names like Allen Bradley, Siemens.
Yes. And mentioning the programming languages like ladder logic or structured text.
Okay, and don't forget about problem solving.
That's huge.
Maybe I can talk about a time I debugged a really tricky program.
Or maybe a time you made a process more efficient.
Real-world examples.
Always.
And RoleCatcher's AI can really help you here.
How so?
Well, it can figure out exactly what PLC skills they're looking for in the job description.
Like maybe they need someone who knows motion control or safety systems.
Exactly. So you're giving them what they want.
Okay, next question. Describe your experience with electrical testing equipment. This one's essential.
Yeah, pretty much every electrical engineering technician needs to know this stuff.
They're testing your troubleshooting skills.
Can you find the root of a problem?
Do you know which tools to use? Do you understand all the safety procedures?
And can you understand those test results? Make sense of them.
That's what they're looking for.
So multimeters, oscilloscopes, cable testers.
The whole arsenal.
I want to talk about specific testing procedures too, like insulation resistance testing or ground fault circuit interruption.
Yes. Paint them a picture of your expertise, but don't just rattle off a list.
Okay.
Tell them how you actually use those test results to figure out what the problem is.
I bet they love to hear a story here. Tell me about a time you used testing equipment to solve a really weird problem.
Perfect. That shows you can think under pressure.
And RoleCatcher can help me tailor my answer to the specific equipment and procedures.
That are mentioned in the job description, yeah.
It's like my own little cheat sheet.
Okay, ready for a question that's like super relevant these days?
Yeah, hit me.
Describe your experience with renewable energy systems. Companies are really looking for technicians who know about this stuff.
It makes sense. Renewable energy is huge. Solar panels, wind turbines. It feels like the future is already here.
They want to know which specific technologies you know. Solar, wind, geothermal, even a combo of different types.
So they're not just looking for someone who can install a solar panel.
Right. Do you understand system design, integration, and, do you actually care about sustainability?
So if I've installed solar panels before, I should be ready to talk about the different types of panels, inverters, mounting systems.
Exactly.
Or if I've worked on wind turbines, I should know about the components and maintenance.
Yes. And this is where you can show your passion for this stuff, because it's a field that's all about making a positive impact.
It's more than just a job, right?
Exactly.
You want to be part of building a sustainable future.
And RoleCatcher's AI can make sure your answer is a perfect match for the job description.
Okay, next one. This one seems broader. Describe your experience with electrical project management. This isn't just about, technical skills, right?
You're right. It's about showing them you can lead a team. Can you plan, organize, and actually get the job done?
So can you manage a project from start to finish?
That's what they want to know.
So I should talk about projects I've led from the very beginning to the very end.
Exactly. What was your role in each stage? Planning, design, procurement, installation, testing, commissioning.
Don't forget the challenges. Like a time a project went off the rails.
Yeah.
How I got it back on track.
Yes. Or when you had to motivate your team to meet a crazy deadline.
Those stories show I can handle the pressure.
And that you can lead a team to success.
I'm sure RoleCatcher can help me make sure I'm hitting all the key points.
It can.
Okay, before we move on, I want to go back to the career guide for a second.
Sure.
The guide really emphasizes continuous learning, like over and over again.
It's important.
And that makes sense. Technology is constantly evolving.
To be successful in this field, you have to keep learning. The best technicians, they never stop.
Guide talks about going to industry conferences, taking courses online,
Joining professional organizations.
networking.
Networking is huge. You just never know.
Okay, I think we're ready for the final set of questions, the ones where I can really show off my technical knowledge.
Let's do it. All right, how about this one? Describe your experience with variable frequency drives.
Variable frequency drives, VFDs. Those always sounded kind of intimidating.
Well, they're powerful tools used to control the speed of AC motors.
I see them everywhere. Industrial pumps, fans, even electric vehicles.
Exactly. So if the company works with a lot of motors, knowing about VFDs is pretty important.
What kind of things will they ask?
Which types have you worked with? How do you program and configure them?
What about troubleshooting?
Troubleshooting, of course. And they might even get into specifics like using VFDs for energy efficiency or process control.
I'm noticing that a lot of these questions are about problem solving. Can you think on your feet?
Absolutely. They want to know you can handle unexpected situations. So when you answer, think about how you can showcase your problem-solving skills.
Makes sense.
Share those aha moments. Explain your approach to challenges.
And RoleCatcher's AI can help me tailor my answer, right?
Yes, it can highlight the specific VFD skills that are most relevant to that particular job.
Okay, good. What's next?
Let's talk about motor control circuits. Describe your experience working with motor control circuits. This is all about making things move and operate.
Motors are in everything.
They're essential. They want to see that you understand the principles behind motor control,
Okay.
different types of motor starters,
Got it.
and how to design and troubleshoot those circuits.
So relays, contactors, PLCs even.
All of those, yeah. This is another chance to show off your problem-solving skill.
Like that time I had to find a short circuit in a control panel.
Perfect example. Tell those stories, bring your experience to life, and don't shy away from the technical details. Show them you really know what you're talking about.
And RoleCatcher can make sure my answer is tailored to the job, right?
Exactly. Okay, are you ready for a question about precision?
Sure, bring it on.
Describe your experience with electrical calibration.
Calibration. That's about making sure instruments and equipment are measuring correctly, right?
Think of it as quality control. It guarantees everything is working the way it should.
In some industries, even tiny errors can be a huge deal.
You're right. They'll want to know which types of equipment you've calibrated.
The procedures.
The procedures. Your understanding of the standards and tolerances.
Sounds like they want someone who's really detail-oriented.
Absolutely. Meticulous. It's about showing them you have those qualities.
What if I tell a story about catching a calibration error that saved everyone a lot of trouble?
Perfect. They love those real-world examples. It shows you can think ahead and prevent problems.
Okay, ready for the next one. What else is there?
Here's one that's a bit more open-ended. What are some key considerations when designing a safe and efficient electrical system? It lets you show off your overall knowledge.
Oh, I like that. It's not about a specific task, it's about the big picture.
They want to see that you're not just following instructions, you're thinking about the entire design process.
So I could talk about things like proper grounding and bonding.
To prevent electrical shocks, that's a good place to start. Choosing the right wire sizes, the right overcurrent protection devices to prevent overloads and fires.
What about energy efficiency?
That's a big one these days. You could mention energy-efficient lighting, incorporating renewable energy sources.
I could definitely talk about that.
And mentioning specific codes and standards always shows you're a pro.
And I can use RoleCatcher to make sure my answer is relevant to their industry.
Exactly. Okay, we're almost there. Just 2 more questions.
Right. Lay it on me.
How about this? Describe your experience working with industrial communication protocols. In today's world, devices and systems need to talk to each other.
And that's where those protocols come in. We're talking about things like Ethernet OP, Modbus, Profibus.
Exactly. They're essential for modern automation. They allow different devices to share data and work together.
So what will they be looking for in my answer?
Which protocols are you familiar with?
Right.
Do you understand their strengths and weaknesses? Can you troubleshoot any communication issues?
Like if a network goes down or a device can't talk to the PLC.
Exactly. Have you faced those kinds of challenges? How did you handle them?
It's all about problem solving again, isn't it?
You got it. Can you think critically? Can you apply your technical skills to real-world situations?
I bet RoleCatcher can help me figure out which protocols to focus on.
It can. It can analyze the job description and point you in the right direction.
Right, last question. I'm ready.
This one's all about staying ahead of the curve. What are some emerging trends in electrical engineering that you find particularly exciting?
Oh, I like this one. It's my chance to show them I'm passionate about this stuff.
It's about showing them you're keeping up with the latest advancements, that you're committed to continuous learning.
So what kind of trends should I mention? The career guide talked about the Internet of Things and how it's changing everything.
That's a great one. Talk about how sensors, data analytics, cloud computing, they're all coming together to create smarter systems.
What about artificial intelligence? I'm hearing a lot about AI being used for energy efficiency and automation.
That's a hot topic right now. Don't forget about the advancements in renewable energy. It's an exciting time to be in this field.
I could talk about all the cool new developments for hours.
That's the spirit. Interviewers love to see that kind of enthusiasm.
Well, I feel a lot more prepared now, thanks to you and to RoleCatcher.
You're going to do great. Just remember to review those key concepts, practice your answers, and use those RoleCatcher tools to your advantage.
It really is like having a secret weapon.
And don't forget about that career guide. It's full of valuable advice.
To all the electrical engineering technicians out there, good luck. You've got this. This is an amazing field, and you have the power to shape its future.